I kept the log for 4 years. That was my assignment, trade liaison, third tier, embedded inside the Verath Commission's protected entity zone on the outer shelf. The classification sounded generous. It wasn't. Protected entity had no independent legal standing inside Commission space. It couldn't negotiate, couldn't expand, to exit a contract without Commission countersignature. It could conduct trade under Commission schedules, file reports under Commission formats, and renew its authorization annually by presenting itself, hat in hand, before the Shelf Subcommittee and asking permission to remain. We did that 4 times. I sat at that low table with the renewal applications, and I answered their questions in the order they asked them, and I said thank you when they stamped the forms. That was the assignment. I also kept a second log. That one I didn't file with anyone. The Commission's outer shelf administration had a narrow definition of its own jurisdiction. It ran along registered trade corridors and extended 200 kilometers on either side. Outside that band, in what the Commission's own charts labeled unincorporated approach space, the Commission had authority over traffic routing and nothing else. No licensing, no entity classification, no countersignature required for anything. Our people had been working in unincorporated approach space since the 2nd year. Not loudly, not with flags or formal notices. They built what they built, and they registered it with no one, because no one had jurisdiction to require registration. By the end of year 3, there were 11 operational nodes out there. Relay, supply, 2 light cargo staging posts, and a small coordination hub that most people would have called a port if they were being honest about it. The Commission was not paying attention to unincorporated approach space. It was paying attention to us. The dissolution vote came on a Tuesday. I heard it announced by a Commission herald, before the Shelf Subcommittee had even been formally seated. The Outer Shelf Administration had petitioned the full Commission body to reclassify all protected entities on the shelf as integrated dependencies, absorbed, in plain language, with no separate standing of any kind. The petition had passed 3 weeks earlier in a closed session. What the Tuesday announcement covered was the enforcement timeline. 60 days, all protected entity designations to be converted, all human trade posts to surrender independent operational licenses, all personnel to apply for Commission residency under integrated dependency status or vacate the corridor. Our lead attaché, a woman named Solis, was sitting to my left when the herald finished. She didn't move for a moment. Then she picked up the folder she had brought to the table. Our copy of the renewal application, paired in advance as a formality. And she set it down again without opening it. She stood up. She didn't say anything to the subcommittee. She didn't look at the herald. She walked to the chamber door, and I followed her, and the 2 junior aides behind me followed me, and the door closed. Behind us without drama. We had 60 days. We were done in 38. The Commission's enforcement vessels arrived at the registered posts on day 41 to begin the conversion process. They found the posts empty, not abandoned. There's a difference. Abandoned looks like things left behind in a hurry. What they found was clean, decommissioned equipment, cleared floors, recycled inventory. The operational licenses had been formally surrendered the week before through a Commission filing office on the far end of the shelf, in exact accordance with the dissolution procedures. Every form correctly completed, every fee paid. The Commission opened an inquiry into where the personnel had gone. The inquiry took 11 days and concluded that the personnel had relocated to a series of operational nodes in unincorporated approach space, which fell outside Commission jurisdiction and therefore outside the scope of the inquiry. The Commission had no further remedies available under its own charter. On day 93, a Commission administrative secretary contacted the Human Coordination Hub in unincorporated approach space to request a meeting to discuss, as the message put it, the establishment of a new framework for cooperation in the Outer Shelf region. The address the secretary had been given was outside Commission space. The meeting, if it happened, would occur on our terms, at our location, under no authority but our own. I was the one who drafted the acknowledgement. 1 sentence. We would receive their delegation on a date of our choosing. I have been asked, since then, whether I felt anything watching the Commission's own enforcement timeline do our work for us. Watching the 60-day clock they handed us become the exact window we needed to close out every registered post and move the last cargo to the nodes before anyone thought to look there. Felt something. I felt tired. Mostly, the satisfied kind. 4 years is a long time to file the right forms and wait.